The Vorthak interrogation chamber was a masterpiece of psychological warfare. Carved from obsidian black stone and lit by sickly green bioluminescent panels, it had broken thousands of prisoners across dozens of species. The air itself seemed to whisper despair, recycled through filters designed to carry the faint scent of fear pheromones from previous victims. Commander Zexthal clicked his mandibles in satisfaction as he observed the latest prisoner through the one-way viewing portal. The human sat motionless in the center of the chamber, secured by quantum-locked restraints that had held even the strongest Krillin berserkers. The chains were forged from neutronium-infused alloy, each link capable of withstanding the gravitational pull of a small moon. Subject designation, human female. Designation, Sarah Chen, his aide reported, consulting a holographic display. Captain of the Terran vessel Defiant Hope. Captured during the failed defense of Colony Kepler 442. Zexthal's compound eyes gleamed. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic stage, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 2 centuries ago. Their technology was crude, their ships barely held together, with what other species mockingly called human engineering. AI, combination of stubborn determination and creative problem-solving that more advanced civilizations found quaint. "What does she know?" he asked. "Everything," his aide replied with undisguised glee. "Locations of the remaining human colonies, defense codes, supply routes." The humans trusted her with their most sensitive information. "Excellent. Begin standard interrogation protocol." The chamber filled with subsonic frequencies designed to induce panic in most species. Neural dampeners activated, flooding the space with electromagnetic pulses that scrambled higher brain functions. Gravity manipulators created a disorienting sense of vertigo that had reduced hardened warriors to whimpering children. Sarah Chen opened her eyes and looked directly at the viewing portal, as if she could see through the quantum-opaque barrier. She smiled. "That's unusual," the aide muttered, adjusting the controls. "Increasing neural dampener intensity by 30%. Sarah's smile widened. She flexed her shoulders and the chains clinked softly against each other. Zexthal leaned forward. In his 3 decades of interrogation, he had never seen a prisoner maintain such composure. The neural dampeners alone should have left her catatonic. Perhaps humans require a more direct approach. Activate the pain inductors. The chamber's walls began to emit targeted energy beams designed to stimulate pain receptors without causing permanent damage. Every nerve ending should have screamed in agony. Instead, Sarah threw back her head and laughed, a sound of pure, defiant joy that somehow cut through the supposedly soundproof barriers. "Sir," the technician's voice cracked with uncertainty, "the restraints are showing stress fractures." Impossible. Those chains could hold a Titan-class dreadnought. But as they watched, hairline cracks began to spider across the neutronium alloy. Sarah hadn't moved, hadn't strained against her bonds. She simply sat there, radiating something that their instruments couldn't measure but could clearly see affecting the molecular structure of her restraints. "What is she doing?" Zexthal demanded. Sarah spoke for the first time, her voice carrying clearly through the communication system despite the chamber's sound dampeners. "You want to know what makes humans different? It's not our technology. It's not our weapons. It's that we've never learned when to give up." The cracks spread faster now, racing along the chain links with crystalline chiming sounds. The quantum locks that had taken Vorthak engineers decades to perfect began to flicker and fail. "She's not doing anything physically impossible," the technician reported frantically. "But somehow her bioelectric field is resonating at the exact frequency needed to destabilize the molecular bonds. The statistical probability of such a coincidence is—" "Humans don't believe in coincidence," Sarah interrupted, though she shouldn't have been able to hear them. "We believe in will. And my will is to see every single one of my people free." The first chain link shattered with a sound like breaking glass. Then another. Then another. Zexthal activated emergency protocols. "Seal the chamber. Deploy security forces." But the damage was spreading beyond just the restraints. The walls themselves began to show stress fractures. The carefully calibrated torture devices started to malfunction, their delicate electronics overwhelmed by an energy signature that defied conventional physics. "It's not possible," the aide whispered. "No biological entity can generate sufficient directed willpower to affect matter at the quantum level." Sarah stood, the broken chains falling away from her wrists like decorative jewelry. The chamber's oppressive atmosphere seemed to lighten around her, as if her presence alone was pushing back the carefully crafted despair. "You made one mistake," she said, walking calmly toward the chamber door as security alarms wailed throughout the facility. "You assumed that breaking a human required breaking their body. But we're not just flesh and bone. We're stories. We're dreams. We're the accumulated weight of every ancestor who refused to kneel." The reinforced door, designed to withstand plasma cannons, crumpled inward like paper. "And right now," Sarah continued, stepping through the twisted metal, "I'm carrying the dreams of 12 billion humans who trusted me to bring them home." Vorthax security forces filled the corridor, weapons trained on her. Sarah looked at them with something approaching pity. "You could have offered us alliance," she said. "Instead, you chose to make us angry." The lights began to flicker as her presence continued to affect the station's systems. Throughout the facility, containment fields holding other prisoners started to fail. The Vorthax's greatest strength, their ability to break the spirit of their enemies, had encountered something they had never faced before. A human who refused to accept that the impossible was actually impossible. As Sarah walked through the station, leaving a trail of liberated prisoners and failing systems in her wake, Commander Zexthul finally understood the fatal flaw in their intelligence about humanity. They had classified humans as a weak species because their bodies were fragile and their technology primitive. But they had never accounted for the one thing that made humans truly dangerous: their absolute refusal to accept limitations that others took for granted. The keys had bent not because of any superhuman power, but because Sarah Chen simply wouldn't allow anything, not physics, not superior technology, not overwhelming odds, to prevent her from keeping her promise to her people. In the end, that was the most human thing of all.